Hey everyone, I want to welcome you to the New Hollywood podcast where we interview the dreamers, the people that made it happen. Today we are in for a treat. My good friend Nathan Ortega of Influencer Podcast reconnected me with Brendan Meyers, who I met a couple of years ago at a conference I was speaking at with Vincent Dignan. Brendan hits a couple of these buttons that we talk about, from celebrity to influencer to business person, because he's kind of a cross-section of a couple of them. Yeah. He starts off his story back in Boynton Beach, Florida, where he wanted to play high school varsity football, and they told him he had no shot. He was 120 pounds and he was a gamer. Well, Brendan defied the odds, ended up playing high school football, got a concussion, which he thought was going to crush his dreams of playing in the NFL, but not for Brendan. He decided to figure a way to power through it, ended up playing collegiate football at FAU, which he decided to change into a YouTube career. And since then, he's had multiple different businesses that he started, he's launched. He's also had multiple failures, ups and downs, and he still keeps a positive attitude. So thank you for coming on the episode.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. The first time we met, I was so interested. I was like, okay, who's this guy? What does he do? What's going on? And, I was at a point in my life where, I was kind of searching, but at the same time, I had everything going for me. I had the nice car, I had the nice office, I had everything. And 6 months later, a lot of things came to a crash, and I can't wait to just unravel everything and show what's possible in life.
Cool. So let's start off. I like to start off with everyone's kind of origin story, like their superhero.
Yeah.
So back in Boynton Beach, what made you decide to get out of gaming and play football and get into athletics?
Yeah, when I was growing up, I was always the most athletic kid. I can doing the quote thing right now, but and I got into gaming because I was talking to my aunt, and I said to her, I was like, hey, my brother Chris and my sister, they had really bad acne at the time. And I was like, they have horrible acne. That's disgusting. I would never want that. Well, guess what? 2 months down the line, I got all this acne on my face, worse than anyone else. And I started gaming, and the gaming was my way out of the way I looked and the way I felt. So I was very insecure. And so I started with the gaming, and then I moved from the gaming to just like feeling like, hey, I'm alone. I don't have anything going for me. Like, I've always played sports. I've always been engaged in all these different things. And that really was crushing to me when I went to my freshman year of high school and I was 119 pounds. I tried to run and I could barely run. I've been just gaming every single day, And so my coach told me, hey, why don't you just wrestle, right? All my friends were playing high school football. I was like, man, I really want to play football. And I just felt so bad. I was so insecure. I hated looking at myself in the mirror every single day. And long story short, I was told that I would never play varsity football and all this fun stuff that I wanted to do. And it fired me up when I was wrestling, and I just quit wrestling. And I was like, I'm going to do it next year. And I did it.
So what's the step? Like, because realistically, I graduated high school and I weighed 120 pounds.
Yeah.
I'd eat everything. Like, once I went to my doctor, I'm like, how do you gain weight? He's like, eat McDonald's 3 times a day. I did it. I lost weight.
Right.
So how do you go about, like, proactively and deliberately getting your body in shape to play football?
Yeah. So, especially with any type of a high performing sport, you have to really focus in on the nutrition, right? Everyone thinks that, oh, well, you could just like eat whatever you want and look great and all this. Well, that only goes so far, right? You need to be able to put in the proper micronutrients, right? You need to eat all your vegetables and the things that are really going to help you perform optimally, right? So when I was 119 pounds, I told myself, I was like, no matter what, I'm just going to get 6,000 calories in every single day until I graduate. And that's exactly what I did. I literally was taking 2 shakes of 1,000 calories per shake. And after it, I would almost throw up every single time for the first 6 months. It's called Russian Bear 5000. Please, please do not buy that.
So how did you come up with a 6,000 calorie number? Like, did you do like some online research? Because something I'm very aware of is I've had friends like that have been hospitalized and had serious repercussions of just like taking the wrong combination of supplements. Right. Like, how did you educate yourself on what's the right thing to do?
To be honest, I didn't educate myself at first. And so when I was through high school, that first year, I gained 40 pounds because I was just eating everything in the sun. I put 6,000 calories on there because I felt like it was a cool number to hit and it was more than anyone else. And I was at a point in my life where I was like, I literally had so many doubts about myself. So I was like, hey, this is a proper opportunity. But then, I went to college for exercise physiology, and that's where I really started to learn more about nutrition, what to put in the body.
I mean, it's kind of a trip because you mentioned, you drew into gaming because of the acne. And like, it's really tough because kids are really mean in like high schools. And like really what you care about is I want to play sports. I want to date.
Exactly.
And you kind of figured out a way to get into shape, overcome that obstacle.
Exactly.
How did you go about combating the acne?
To be honest, I have scars on my face today, right?
Yeah.
And I use that to my advantage. I use that as a stepping stone to my career and what I can develop and things and just, that security in myself. But I never really, to be honest, like the majority of high school until late into my junior year, my early senior year, I couldn't combat it. I didn't know how to. I would walk down the aisles of my high school and I would do small things that nobody else noticed, but I was like strategically trying not to be seen by certain girls. I was strategically trying to just leave the class a little bit later, a little bit earlier, get to school at this time, not go down this hallway, take the stairs, like speed walk. And so, to be honest, I ran from it for so long. And I also had some Tourette's growing up as well. And like, I always tried to just run from it. And it wasn't until I embraced it and really understood what it meant and what type of value it brought to my life that I really grew and my life just transformed.
That's really cool, man. I can definitely relate to a lot of it because high school is brutal. And like for me, I hated it too. I was like, I just want to get through high school. I want to get away from these people because once people identify you as being one person, you're always that person.
Yeah, especially in your hometown.
Especially in your hometown. And even in sales, the first call, if you mess up that first call, it'll take somewhere between 12 and 20 future calls to change someone's opinion of how they feel about you and your service.
Exactly.
So when you went to college, did you take a proactive approach in like just changing who you were?
You know what, man? I had that severe concussion going in like 3 games left into my high school career. And I can remember just a year prior, I went up to my other coach and I was like, hey, I want to play collegiate football. He said, just go play Division III. And I was like, what do you mean Division III? I want to play Division I. He said, you can't make it. You can't make it in Division I. Well, I went to a camp and they wanted me really bad at Vanderbilt University. And I had an opportunity and then I got this concussion and I had post-concussive syndrome for a full year. And it was in a sense, like if you walked in front of a mirror or if you ever slept, if you're sleeping, right? If you're taking a nap and someone like sprints into the room, like yelling at you and like the lights are super bright and you open up your eyes and you're like, whoa, what's going on? That was kind of like where I was. And so when I got into college, that's when I took the next step because I combated all of that. I overcame that and being suicidal, wanting to kill myself. And then when I got into that college scenario and I started to I had to work hard. I was a walk-on at FAU because of my scholarship was dropped from Vanderbilt. So I had to overcome things around me because if I didn't, I wouldn't have made it. I wouldn't have progressed to be a starting wide receiver. I wouldn't have been that much closer to becoming an NFL superstar, And so I had no choice. It was either, okay, Brendan, you can hide in a closet and be upset with yourself and all these different things and look at yourself and say, hey, you lost everything. Or you can just take advantage of the opportunity and say, hey, this is my stepping stone to get into the NFL and taking the next step in my life. So I had to do it. I just made it happen.
So what's the walk-on process like? Anything like the movie Rudy?
Yeah.
I'm sure you get that a couple of times.
They were recruiting me out of high school and I really didn't want to go there. It was 30 minutes away from my house. I was like, I don't want to stay in you know how it is. Like
South Florida, you're not really going that far.
Yeah, right. You want to go party. You want to go have fun. You want to be playing in front of 100,000 people or 70,000 people. And so the walk-on process is interesting. I mean, they push you, but they started to call me DJ Whiteout, like the guys on the team because I was like rapping in the locker room but like I was the hardest worker, hands down. And I always have been, during high school, I trained every morning at 5:30. And then after football practice, I would train again. And I did the same thing when I was a walk-on. And that's where you have to prove yourself. You have to put in more work than anyone else. I was the last person on the field. I was the first person on the field. I was watching game film. I was asking questions. I was in on every single rep. And it's tough. I'll tell you this much. It's tough. There's some crazy stories a part of that. But you just have to bust through it. It's just the mindset. It's just keep on going.
I mean, that's one of the biggest things that people have trouble with. Every time I go into the gym right after January 1st, there's a lot of New Year's resolutions in there. And the thing that people get bummed out about is like, oh, well, I can't bench press 240 right off the bat. Right. Realistically, it's getting up the bar and 25 pounds on each side, and celebrating that victory.
Just start.
And then moving it inch by inch. So I think it was really intelligent what you brought up, which is you have to outwork the competition when you go into business or if you go into life, because if you're not putting in that extra effort, somebody else is. Yeah. And that other person's 100%. Getting that competitive advantage.
Yeah. And you know, a lot of people think, and I hear this all the time, every single day, hey, you need to be the smartest worker. That's what you need to worry about first. Be the smartest person, read, do all these different things. But I really believe the opposite. You know, I think that you need to work the hardest first so you understand what it's like to work at when you're exhausted. So you understand what it's like to overcome all these other obstacles. Even if you make all these mistakes and failures and all these different things that you come across in your life, and then you gain the knowledge through that time, you know, that experience, and then you start learning, and that's where you take it to the next step. And so, yeah, to just add on to that, I think that you have to outsmart your competition, but outwork your competition as well. And that's so important. People miss out on both.
Yeah. I mean, Muhammad Ali said in one of his most famous quotes, which is, I win the fight running at 5 a.m. before I'm actually even in that ring. It's the pre-work. It's the after-work. It's the analysis.
100%.
So how did you end up getting into calisthenics? Because that seems like a little bit odd, because football workouts, from a lot of my understanding, are functional muscle training, but a lot of it involves like the burpees, the squats.
Yeah. And, you know, I was like squatting a ton of weight. I was, you know, benching, you know, all the like sled drives and running 40-yard dashes, sprinting, you know, and I was always wanting to be the most athletic person, work the hardest. And then, you know, one of my best friends, Jimmy Shickley, one of my gamers back in the day, thankful for him. You know, we were playing around when I was in college, and we were like, hey, we are the Bar Stars body weight guys. And we were trying to like pretend on all these exercises. Well, we took a photo of that and I didn't know that I was actually going to one day get into bodyweight training. And so when I quit and I stopped playing at FAU football, you know, I went up to another school for a scholarship, was about to sign. And I literally was just like, no, this isn't for me. And I just left. And when I got home, I didn't know what to do. Imagine taking everything in your life, your story and everything, and like what your purpose is in life, and it being shot, it's gone, but by choice. And so I was like, okay, I think this is something that I could do. And I started to really research the market and see where people were really starting to catch on and we're a niche. I wanted to find something within the fitness industry, and I found bodyweight training. I did my first muscle up and I slipped. I fell on the ground, and I knew, I was like, okay, this is something that it's like competition to me, and I can overcome. And I was 200 pounds. People were like, what, you 200 pounds? Even then they were like, you're crazy. You can't do a handstand on a pull-up bar. You can't. Now I'm doing all that stuff. So I took it to the next level.
No, you're pretty much like a parkour expert whenever I watch any of your videos.
Yeah. No, I do backflips, side flips. I'll squat 480 pounds, and then I'll do a couple crazy moves. I'll do handstand push-ups. I'll bench, 350, and then but that all came to a screeching halt. And I like really injured myself in the past year that kind of was like threw all my businesses off and lost all my money, which is pretty intense.
So what motivated you to decide to stop playing football and focus on this? Like, what was like the key determining moment that you're like, I'm not going to go to school?
Didn't feel right. And I tell everyone, every single person that I ever talk to, like, listen, you need to trust your gut. What is your gut telling you? And a lot of the times we don't, right? If you want Chipotle, go get Chipotle instead of another burrito place. You know what I mean? It's a funny example, but it's true. It's like, we're so indecisive with what we do, but it's because we don't trust ourselves enough. And when you can dig deep, that's where it really opens up and blossoms. And for me, I just felt like it wasn't right. I don't know. I can't even explain it. I didn't know what my next step was, but I didn't feel like it was right. So I just walked into my coach's office. I told him I'm done. And he said, turn around. I turned around on the whiteboard and I was starting. I was a starting wide receiver at Florida Atlantic University. And he said, remember who you could have become here on the field and the star you could have become. But I know you're going to be successful either way. And I appreciate you being here and training with us. And that was it.
That's amazing. I mean, I think a key piece that I found very interesting about that was you have to trust your instincts. Our minds 100%. Still have a lizard brain as part of it. So we have that fight or flight syndrome. And most people don't trust themselves. And I think it's really due to the fact that there's so much information. There's also so many alternatives.
Right.
I think that's a big issue for people in like interpersonal relationships because Guess what? If you're tired of talking to the person that you've been talking to for a while, there's Bumble, there's Tinder, there's Raya, there's, Yelp if you want to get really adventurous out there. And people can't make a decision in a lot of aspects of their life. Like a lot of people are like, I want to be successful. I want to set up my own business, but they don't take that first step into making their own business.
There's too much, there's just way too much. Hey, I want to focus on Facebook ads. I want to do advertising, but I want to create a coaching business, but I want to build this business and product development, and I want to do e-commerce, and there's so many different avenues. I want to be a copywriter. I want to do and like people never narrow it down, and they don't trust their instincts to saying, oh, well, actually a coaching business is for me. This is exactly what I need. And I feel like that's what holds people back from truly being successful. And that's what separates really successful, like multimillionaires, people that own multiple businesses and really have developed something long lasting. That's like the key right there, is just trusting your instinct.
And each business has to have a very specific niche. Too many businesses are too wide out there. Like
100%.
I run into people that hit me up for consults all the time. They're like, we're a clothing label, we're a record label as well, and we also make, sandwiches. I'm like, what are you talking about? You're just combining all of your random hobbies.
Exactly.
Each of those needs to be an individual business. They need to be staggered in and out. How did you go about building your social following? Because when we were growing up, saying that you're going to make your career by posting videos online is not
crazy.
Real thing.
Yeah, it was crazy. So 7 years ago, or about 7 years ago, I developed some crazy strategies. So on Facebook, I created partnerships with fitness motivational pages. I also put myself in a setting where I met some people that I knew that I would become friends with, but I also would evolve with, that would give me that next step to my career on YouTube and social media. And so I developed that friendship, and I appreciate them so much for what they did for me. And then, as I bought pages on Facebook. I was posting every single day, every 3 hours for 6 months, and I grew 1 million in 6 months. And it's because I put
on Facebook or YouTube?
On Facebook specifically. And so with that platform, only that platform, that's when the organic traffic was incredible. Now it's like, it's all paid, and so I've also became an expert with Facebook ads as well, because I could see the transition, but I studied the market. I knew exactly what to post, what time to post, and I would engage, and my videos would just blow up, 47 million views on one video, and 10 million, 8 million, 15 million. But I found a niche, and that's where it's important to zone in on, is that I not only went into the bodyweight community, but I really established myself with someone that has the knowledge, but at the same time will give something that's funny, that will give something that will always just be consistent, that that you will receive. So ab workouts. I was like an ab workout guy. Everyone knows my ab workouts on YouTube, so they do them every single day. And so I became the ab guy. And then I started to do walking in the air pull-ups and stuff. And then I became that guy. And then I became the guy that would squat and 500 pounds and then go do crazy bodyweight stuff. So I try to evolve myself within my niche and just be unique. And that's how I grew my social. I grew on Instagram, 260,000 in 1 month. My YouTube is at 780,000. And it's just, it's so broad. And the cool thing is that I developed my Facebook completely separate from my Instagram. So all the people that were on there, they don't know each other until obviously they cross over when they see my Facebook and stuff now. But back then I grew it completely separate, and I knew there was new business opportunities in each sector that I could just take advantage of. So that's what I did.
Okay, did you have any mentors either in calisthenics or social media that kind of gave you those tips? And could you share probably a couple of the best tips that you got from them?
I never had mentors, and I know it's good for content to talk about mentors at that point in my life, but the mentors that I had burned my bridge to my success at that point. I always had to combat what I was going through. So I had one mentor that, and I'm not going to go into it, but he burned the opportunity for me to get specific sponsorships and do these opportunities. And I had to learn because of it. And so it's kind of opposite from most people. The person that I looked up to is my father. He works his ass off consistently all day. And I watched that and I said, I know that I can accomplish anything alone, but having a mentor is important. So even though I was reaching out to these people, they welcomed me in, but with false expectations for myself. And I just learned because of it. So I didn't have the mentor that gave me the stepping stones and gave me the guidance, but rather they taught me lessons that now I've taken into building businesses for other people and doing those type of things.
Well, even when you get burned, you learn something, which is
so
like
much.
Such a big thing. Like, I'm somebody that I traditionally was not helped by most people in my business. Like I told them I was going to get into entertainment. Like you're completely unrealistic. You're an Indian guy from Boston. There's no shot. You got no shot at being Carson Daly. You got no shot at like getting in touch with all these big celebrities.
I love it.
Do you know what I said? I said, you know what? I'm not going to be beholden to anybody else's limitations on what I personally can do.
Exactly.
I'm going to do one of the best techniques in meeting people, which is go up to them, shake their hand and say, hey, my name is Ashwin.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. And most people are like, how did you meet all these people? I'm like, I literally went up to people and I said, hi, this is my name. And I had a normal conversation about the weather or whatever just came to my mind.
I did the same thing.
And the other part is your dad is a perfectly acceptable mentor because, one of the big things that you mentioned both about him and yourself is both of you worked your ass off to get to where you're at. Yeah. And that's one of those things that, if somebody was denied something, they didn't really have good mentors or people viewed them as competition, you probably make 10 times better of a coach for the people that work with you and your employees because you know what it's like when somebody views you as their competition.
100%.
Whereas realistically, if a lot of those people were like, hey, you shouldn't do this because this is how I got burned, or hey, I'll plug you with this additional sponsor, you're probably going to get some money from them, which is I don't realistically think it's going to take anything away from them.
Right.
But that also presents the opportunity that one sponsor could lead to 2 or 3 other sponsors that you get, and then you also turn them onto. And that's a big problem for society in general is people view that they can be the only one that's successful.
Yeah, exactly. And, I do want to just say that, I have had people that inspired me, that took me to the next step, people in the bodyweight community, Bar Stars, Bar Brothers, yep. Frank Madrano. Frank Madrano is like one of those well-known guys out there. But, also Jan Picca, which is my strength and conditioning coach that I learned from a lot in my exercise physiology degree. So I've learned from incredible people, but there was never one person that just like took me to that next step that I was always on a phone call with, who would always check up on me and be like, hey, how's this, except for my father. So I can say that, and my mother, of course. So that's kind of, I had to learn the hard way, and now I learn the smart way. And it's kind of cool where I can develop those together, and I kind of have programmed it in a way where other people can learn the same way. So I'm super excited with that.
I mean, you give a lot of actionable tips on your YouTube page about how to do different things.
Yeah.
Everything from meal planning to you cooking. I remember your Instagram used to always be you cooking.
Yeah. I actually on Instagram, I did a lot of cooking stuff, but on YouTube, I've vlogged, I've tried so many different things, and I've developed like a vast amount of content. I'm a content creator, right, at heart. But that doesn't go to show for like what else I've done. And with YouTube specifically, every single day I would post for 7 months on my YouTube, a vlog, right? And I would like walk into a door and I would get 3 different angles and I would do all those different things. And so I developed so many different ways of bringing this knowledge to other people and the values. And all my purpose is to get someone changed. I want you to change. That's it. And so that's what I did, like meals, everything. Like body weight training stuff. You can work out anywhere, but at the same time, if you want a gym, okay, I'll help you out with that. If you want help with business, here you go. And so I wanted to really broaden that spectrum off of just like nutrition and body weight and make it something bigger.
No, that's awesome. So speaking of that, what would you recommend to someone that wants to be a content creator on YouTube? They don't know exactly where to start. What are some actionable steps for them to take to be able to get something going?
Yeah, I think it's just, you have to understand just the small things, right? So number 1 is engaging with anybody that watches your video. That's number 1. Number 2 is obviously after you're engaging, you want to engage on other people's videos, right? So it doesn't matter if it's Logan Paul or someone a little bit smaller with 20,000 followers. Just engage, just throw comments out, just be on YouTube engaging with people all day, right? It hacks into the algorithm no matter what, right? You're an engaging channel, especially if you're getting some followers, cool. Now be consistent with your videos, right? Make all of your videos pretty much the same in a sense of where like you're saying the same specific line. Right? So one of my lines I say, if you eat right, you feel right. If you feel right, you look right. If you look right, you do right. You dig. And people started saying that everywhere, right? I used to say, it's mealtime. every single time I would eat. And so if you can create this consistency within your videos and you're posting 3-4 times per week, maybe it's 2 times, just dependent on the channel and what niche you're in, I think that you can really make a dent and be unique. And that's where that's number 4 is just be unique, be yourself. And when you can be yourself and open up to your stories and really post about what you've been through, I guarantee you there's a person watching your video that went through something similar and they can relate and they'll tell a friend. And even if they don't tell a friend, you impacted that person's life. And there's millions and upon millions of people just like you that have been through that. So just post consistently and be engaging. That's it.
Now, authenticity is very key for anything that anybody does. The other part of it is you can only be you. If you try and be somebody else, eventually somebody's going to catch you on and going to catch you like realizing that he's not actually who he says he is. The other thing that I thought you said that was really interesting was you got to be on there commenting. It's more than just the time of filming it and uploading it.
Exactly.
It's not a get rich quick thing. You got to put in those hours and get it to work. Now, one of the things that you brought up was, at the time that we met, things were going great. You had the nice car. You had a great life. You had multiple businesses.
This is the juice of this podcast. This is the juice.
And then you hit some trials and tribulations. And I think that's one of the biggest things that defines real entrepreneurs, real people that want to make an impact and the people that just give up.
Yeah.
So can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah. So, I've developed a couple businesses, supplements, apparel. I also had the opportunity, someone actually got me into the door of online marketing. And so I worked with Jeff Ropier's, who really made me my first money ever in my career. For 3 years, I was just up and down trying to figure it out myself, and I just couldn't. You know how it is. You're just banging your head against the wall, and you're like, why am I not making money? Why am I not making money? I had the following. I just couldn't. And that's what I tell people. You don't need a following to make money. That's the biggest bullshit ever. Anybody that says you need a following to make money, it's not even true. There's so many different ways.
And there are people with followings that don't make any money.
Exactly. Yeah. Thousands, millions of people. And so, I went through this point where I've made $42,000 in 5 days when I first launched some businesses, some products and stuff. And I had a great company going. It was called Be Cut Fit at the time. I evolved it into calisthenics, and it's still going to this day. And people are buying programs. I have thousands upon thousands of testimonials, awesome stuff, right? Had my dream car, had an awesome girlfriend at the time. And I was just in this position where I had everything. I had the team. I had the growing business. I had the growing YouTube channel. People were watching my stuff. People were excited. And then, I went through a pretty rough time. I went through a breakup with that girl. And then I tore my shoulder in 4 different places. And then I suffered 2 severe herniated discs in my low spine. And literally within a blink of an eye, I was on my floor just sobbing in tears. I didn't even know I could cry. It's almost like 20 years, 25 years of just added up stress. And I just started crying. I just broke down.
It's also the whole life that you've built is based on you physically being able to perform.
100%. So knowing that I had these herniated discs, and I didn't even know, just my whole right leg was completely numb.
How did that happen? Was it you were working out and something happened?
Yeah. So I didn't take my own advice. It's you teach other people, some of the best coaches can't even play the sport, right? It was almost as if I was the best coach, but I could kind of play the sport, and I was being careless, man. I tried to do this really cool move from in front of a bunch of people on the beach, and I messed up my shoulder. I didn't know it was torn until 6 months later, but I tore my shoulder in 4 places. And then I was just riding my bike. I fell off my bike one time, hurt my back a little bit more. And then I went into the gym, and I was going through the breakup. You know how breakups are. And it was detrimental to me. And I was trying to squat, and I woke up the next day and my whole right leg was completely numb. And then I had fleas in my house, and then I had to let go of my dog, and then I had to let go of my apartment. I ended up going back to Florida, the one place that I didn't want to go. I moved from Florida to California, and that was my dream was to get away from Florida. That was just my dream, just get away. I wanted to play in the NFL. It evolved into something bigger and better, something that maybe I wanted to be on TV. I didn't know. All I knew is just go 3,000 miles away and just see what life takes you. And so at that point, I was literally I couldn't walk. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't post. And I went back to Florida. I had a CT scan on my gland because they thought that there was something going on there. They thought they saw something abnormal in my ultrasound. And I was literally distraught. I was like, how in the world can I have everything going for me?
It's all piling on you.
And how could I have all this stuff going for me? And then not only did I lose the woman that I thought I was going to marry, I lost my dog. I had to leave California, my state that I love, to go back to a state that I didn't love at the time, Florida. And I had herniated disc. I couldn't walk. I couldn't even move my shoulder because I was in so much pain. And so I got the CT scan 2 days after. Found out the results were good, but I had paranasal sinus disease. And from this, I was crying off and on because, I'm going through a breakup, man. I love this girl.
It's emotional,
right?
Dude.
It's emotional, man. And the fact that I had nothing else that I couldn't even work out. I couldn't scream. I couldn't do anything. If I screamed, my back would be excruciating. And so I was in this point where, I was just crying every day. So I developed something where, and I actually want everybody that's listening to this to do this, you as well. Yeah. I want you to grab take your 2 fingers, put it to where like a man's Adam's apple would be, right? Put it on your throat, put it a little bit lower on it. Now push up against it and just start talking. Start talking to the mic. Just say,
talking into the mic.
Okay. So I've had that for about 10 months now and it's been consistent. And so I developed that 2 days after I had that CT scan and I was just crying. It was literally from crying, just nonstop. I was just crying. And I didn't know what was going on. Then I had to get a blood test and I had to get this. And I ended up in a 6-month period, this all happened. I got a hurricane hit me, dead on. And the day after the hurricane, I walked out the door, I got stung by a bee on my head and all my lymph nodes swelled up. And then I had to go on this other medication, this antibiotic. I had to get an endoscopy. And, long story short,
You're the bad news bears right now.
The bad news bears. And this was in a 6-month period. I lost thousands of followers. I was already down 30,000 followers. I had to go back to California to let go of my apartment because I couldn't afford it.
You're not making any content at this point and you're not able to run your businesses
I couldn't even grab my camera. And even though I was making money, I had a whole team that I had to pay. So even if I made $15,000, $20,000, I had to pay my whole team. I had to pay the ads. And so I didn't even look at my bank account for 7 months. And one day my dad sat me down. He's like, yo, like you haven't looked at anything. Like, do you see I lost all my money. I lost all of it. And I was in debt, like $20,000. And, I was on antibiotics. I'm talking about, I had sinus surgery. I had stem cell surgery in my shoulder.
So you're on antibiotics for like 6-7 months.
Oh, and
which is horrible
in different
for your
ways,
body.
And then I also had other things develop. I tried to jog to get my mind off of things and I couldn't. So I started developing urinary issues. And then it was attested to, hey, a doctor called me and said, hey, you might have quadra equina, which leads to paralysis and loss of bladder and bowel control. And I was like, are you kidding me? Can this actually happen? And then I went on another antibiotic. And then 2 days after that, I was on prednisone. And then I had a severe panic attack for 8 hours. I almost crashed driving. I blacked out for about 2 seconds and I couldn't breathe for literally 8 hours. And I woke up the next day and my whole lungs were just like in pain. And so that, and then 2 days after that, going on Lexapro, an antidepressant that messed me up for 2 days. I had to get off of it. And then I had to go on another medication 2 days after that. And then I had an epidural shot in my low spine 2 days after that, which I had complications with. And so when I tell you the things that were happening in my life, I believe are a lot attested to this, just stress, just losing everything. I lost I had to let go of everybody on my team that I was taking care of. I literally felt like everything in my life was done. I would lay on the floor every single day. And this is literally 8 months ago from today. I would lay on the floor and I was just shaking. I was just tremoring. I developed brain fog because I tried to smoke to try and relieve some of the pain and stuff. And I developed what I had in post-concussive syndrome, where just straight brain fog. I just couldn't, I even have it a little bit to this day. And I didn't know, I didn't recognize myself. I lost 40 pounds. I was 163 pounds.
You lost a lot of muscle mass.
I lost all my muscle, like the majority of my muscle. I lost 40,000 followers. I lost all these different things. And then, one day, I went into the doctor for testicular cancer. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, is this really
So your mindset must be completely like, everything's doomed. Everything I worked for is done.
My whole life was broken. I thought I was dying every single day.
And you can't, once you're in that negative mind space, and that's something that most people never realize is, once you start harboring on one negative thing, it just breeds other negative things into your life.
It was one thing after another. I developed headaches every single day, and I couldn't get away from I had brain MRIs, I had CT scans, I had all this stuff going in me, different antibiotics, this and that. When I tell you right now, if you walked into my parents' house where I was staying and you looked at my parents, you would be like, something's not right in this house. So they were exhausted. And I even slept 30 minutes per night. And again, I want to reiterate, this is a 6-month period. I ended up having stem cell surgery on my shoulder, extractions in 6 different points, 2 weeks after my sinus surgery, which I was having complications with. And so I just wanted to get better. And I didn't know what was going on. I was so dazed every single day. Well, after I had that stem cell surgery, my shoulder wouldn't even move. It wouldn't even move at all. And I was at a point where I was in excruciating pain, and I was sleeping 30 minutes per night for a month straight, 30 minutes. I got addicted to pain pills, started creating my own pain pills out of poppy seeds. So I guess I'm a chemist now.
Yeah.
And, I had to break out of that. And my heart rate was 100 beats per minute every single day. And it was just racing. So my leg was numb, my shoulder was messed up. And I literally thought I was dead. I was like a walking dead man.
I mean, pain pills are legalized heroin.
It
horrible.
Comes
from poppy plants, which makes heroin and opium. And it's physically addictive. So when you start taking them for those surgeries, your body is telling you that it needs it, just like your body tells you that you need food or you need to breathe.
And it was the worst pain. And the problem was that I was in the worst pain of my life.
So you needed it.
And not only did I need it, I was taking it, but it wasn't even fixing that problem, right? So now I had to try and smoke. And that wasn't going to do anything, And I was trying to do all these different things, and I was just in excruciating pain. Well, long story short, I'm about to go to sleep. I was looking at my fan in my room, and I was like, I'm done. This is it. I want to end my life. This is it. And it happened multiple times, but I have it inside of me that I'm not living for myself. I'm living for other people. And that's what my purpose is. And so I didn't do it. I went to sleep. I woke up the next morning with 5 text messages. I'm not even kidding you. I had 5 text messages. My chiropractor, I had my acupuncturist, I had my rehab specialist. I had this person about this apartment that I was wanting to get that it was so unrealistic in California. But guess what? It happened. And so 2 weeks after that, this is in February, I went and I moved back to California. And literally my life changed more than I could even express to anybody. I developed multiple brands and businesses. I've been working on businesses, and I've really established myself in a way that I truly believe all of this was meant to happen. All this breakup stuff, all these injuries, these sicknesses. The doctor said I would never squat again. I just squatted last month. The doctor said I would never do any of the body weight crazy stuff that I just did it last week. And so
were you doing calisthenics in Santa Monica on the beach?
Yeah. And so I've taken everything that everyone has ever told me in my life and said I couldn't do, and I've developed it. Businesses, I've literally become an expert in Facebook ads, email marketing. I know how to videography, everything that comes to a business. I've worked with brick and mortar. I've literally graphic design. I've wanted to learn everything because people have said that I couldn't learn it. And actually, it wasn't until this day that I realized that I am actually doing these things for other people and not for myself. And that's when my life really transformed, is when I could just do it for myself. And that's when I'm telling you, it transformed like crazy over the past 5 months.
So did you self-teach yourself using Lynda or YouTube?
I just learned. I just
trial
and error, every single day. When I tell you I posted every 3 hours for a year on Facebook, I did that. And then on top of that, I was posting 3 videos on YouTube, and I was editing, and I wanted to become a master at my craft. Anything that I do. If I'm going to rap, I'm going to become the best damn rapper alive. If I'm going to do a podcast, I want to have the best, most awesome podcast that influences as many people as possible. If I'm going to teach people how to build a business, I want them to be all millionaires so that they can influence other people and build other businesses in the same way. And so the majority of this stuff has been self-taught. And then I started to understand what investing is like and how important that is. And that's when really my life just transformed, when I started to invest my own money into other things that would make me money.
Investing is one of the biggest ways that most people get rich. And that's something that's very sad about our educational system. They don't teach you that in high school.
No.
They teach you parabolas and quadratic equations.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And nowadays, when we were kids, it's like, reading is something that we learned about in the Middle Ages that made somebody, educated.
Right.
And now if you can't read, you can't really function.
Yeah.
When we have kids, at that point, you're going to have to know how to code. You're going to have to know how to do Facebook ads. You're going to have to know how to use YouTube, because it's an open market system. It's not like traditional TV. There's more options. There's more noise. And you really have to know how to target people and leverage those tools that let you find the right people in that situation. And the only way to really learn it is you can open up a book and learn some general high level topics, but you really have to fail. And like, how was that process? Like, you're putting up your money, you're pretty much, flat out, you're injured. Yeah, which came back first? Were you getting in shape again first, or were you like trying to build up these businesses? And
experimenting? So I just thought that everything was gone. Like, I didn't post on social media for 7 months. Like, I'm the person that has always posted 3 times a day. Like, I couldn't even pick up my camera. I couldn't press the record button because I didn't want to disappoint myself. I didn't want to disappoint other people. I didn't even know how to talk to a camera anymore, I felt like. And so I had all these doubts and everything. And when I came back to California, I started looking at my life differently. I was like, okay, I have this business that's still running. People are still buying and they're still having opportunities. And I tried to vlog again every single day. It didn't feel right. Nothing felt right in my gut. And I started posting on Instagram and like trying to do this, and I was still losing followers. To this day, I lost 70,000 followers because all I was posting was things like I couldn't post what I was trying to target, like body weight training. I couldn't do any of that. Right. So I came to a point where a business partner of mine and we decided to split. And this is just recently, like a couple months ago, or 3 months ago. And I literally thought I was like, okay, I moved to California. I'm losing followers. I'm not like, the viewers have dropped tremendously. People don't want to really know about a rehab injured guy that's sick. And
your friends and family are dropping out.
Yeah. And like, when I'm just trying to figure it out for myself, and I was like, well, what can I do? What can I do? So you know what I did? About a week after my business partner and I broke up, I came up with an idea. I was like, you know what? I could develop something that and this is something I've always wanted to do. I want to teach other people how to build their businesses. I truly want to. I want to see other guys and girls in the industry develop something out of their passion, out of their story. Maybe if it's acne, maybe if it's they were super overweight or they were so skinny. And that's exactly what I did. Within a month period, I launched my business called the Creative Fitness Academy. I flew in 13 experts or different experts, all the way from teaching Facebook ads, email marketing, YouTube ads, creating your story out of nothing, learning how to get the capital, understanding the law behind your business, online coaching. We teach everything. And it's called the Creative Fitness Academy for a reason, because you can be creative within fitness, and it's an academy where you can develop with other people. And the one thing that I wanted to do, and the one thing that I learned was that, hey, I could charge $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 for this, right? But just 8 months ago, I was laying on the floor feeling I was going to die and I had nothing. And do you know what I thought about? I thought about living. I didn't think about money. I didn't think about what was in my bank account. So we don't charge that. We don't even think of that, because what we care about is having someone, yes, invest, because I believe if you invest, then you will be putting in the time and the effort to you got to be pod committed. Support that.
Because there's a lot of people that go online to learn how to do a lot of things, but it's like a gym membership. If you're not paying that bill every month, or if you're not paying enough money that you feel like you're losing something,
right,
you're not going to do it. It's just human nature.
Right. And so you can't just give free. Life isn't free, right? Yeah, you can go to the beach and lay there, but you have to pay for things. And that, no matter how you want to twist it and say it for yourself, but like, this is society. You have to fit into society in some way, shape, or form. Whether it is paying, you have to go to Whole Foods and you have to buy something.
I mean, the air we breathe isn't even free, because the air that we're breathing is literally killing us. One breath at a time, because that's just the way that life works.
That's just how it is.
There's a cost and opposite reaction to everything that we do. Right. And you really have to realize, like, what is your purpose, which is something that I think you've done, because most people never really figure out what their purpose is. One of the things I ask people is, what do you do outside of your job? Like, what motivates you to get out of bed in the morning?
That's the hardest part of life, I feel like. I think a lot of people, they struggle because they don't know their purpose, their passion. What the heck do I do? How do I do this? Like, and what's my first step? And so, like, that's the one thing that I wanted to teach people in the CFA is just, hey, when you get started, Yeah, you might think it's tedious. You might think it's not worth it, but I guarantee you, if you write down your story, if you take your full story, you write it all out, maybe it's 3 pages, you condense it to 1 page, and you move it to a paragraph, and then you move it to a sentence, and then you move it to 3 words, you can turn it into 1 word that represents your brand, your future life, your passion, and you'll understand yourself so much better. And that is when you can blossom and turn into the person that you truly want to do. People are too scattered. Everyone wants to do something because of society. You watch TV, you look at a magazine, you look at this, and it's just like, you think of all these ideas, right? But you need to narrow that focus, and that's where you take your life to the next level.
I mean, for me, like my biggest thing in life was I always wanted to be in this entertainment business, and then I ended up being a strategy consultant. And then when I got there, when anyone hit me up with an email or a DM, I would respond immediately like, how can I help you out? And I try and help a lot of these people out, but a lot of them would never take any action.
Exactly.
And now that I've been coaching for a longer period of time, now I'm like, hey, if you're serious about this, I need you to put some money up.
Yeah.
And we're going to narrow this down because everyone says there's a lot of like things to do. I'm like, write down 3 things that you want to accomplish over this next year, 18 months.
100%. I love that.
Put it behind your TV or put it somewhere that you're going to look at, somewhere in your room.
Where I put it? I put it right at the top of my ceiling. So every single time I went to sleep, I would see those 3 things. And that's literally what I did. The 3 accomplishments that I wanted in every year, and even like my life, I had them at the top.
I tell people even put it behind your license in your wallet, and you don't even see it.
You.
But subconsciously, the way that our minds are programmed is, if it's there and you remember deliberately taking the time to do that, your brain's going to be like, fuck it, I have to do this. I have a sign that's like, don't stop hustling until you make it into Forbes. And, it's kind of a trip because I'm getting hit up by big publications like that. I'm getting media. I was on CNBC a while ago and on the Comcast South by Southwest Spotlight, talking about the story that I had with one of my clients that we met literally at this school right behind us.
That's so funny.
And we made a movie and we built a 6-figure business together. And a lot of things is having a legacy. It's you want to have a legacy. You have to have a purpose and you got to live Monday through Friday like it's your weekend.
Yeah,
everything should be fun. You got to be passionate about it.
And I tell people that every single day. I lost all my money. I lost everything. Right? I lost everything in this point of 6 months.
Nothing to lose.
I had nothing to lose. And you know what really took me to the next level is I was trying to search so much for a passion. But what I didn't realize is that my passion was literally right in front of me. And all I had to do was let go of everything else around me to see it. And so I let go of my Corvette. That's like my baby. I let go of my Corvette, let go of all my clothes. I literally let go of friendships, relationships, everything around me about 5 months ago. And from that day, 3 months ago, from that day and when I built this business that I love so much, I started to realize like the power of just
minimizing, decluttering your life.
Yeah. It's just like when you can focus and just have one thing on your hands, you can see so much more about your future and what you want to develop. So,
I mean, I keep my possessions personally to a maximum of 3 suitcases worth of stuff outside of furniture and luggage.
I need to get there. I'm on my way to doing that.
Dude, you feel so much better because the less stuff you have, you realize you don't need that much to survive.
Travel the world. You just travel the world mindset.
No, you feel grateful for the things that you have. And then you're less worried about what other people think. Because at the end of the day, the only person you have to please is yourself.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. One of the main things that people, you and I can attribute to this, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. I think everyone, but we feel like we want to please ourselves, right? But more so, we find ourselves getting caught up in trying to please other people, right? Even when I developed one of my businesses long ago, I just wanted to try and develop it for someone else, right? I wanted someone else to be like, "Hey, Brendan, you made $1 million. Wow. Hey, Brendan, you built your following to 1 million people. Wow." And just recently, that's something that I realized is that why? Who cares? Who cares how many followers you have, how much money you've made or anything like that? What cares is that you're happy and you're fulfilled. And that's what you can develop is just focus on yourself and really develop for yourself. And I think that's where you can win at the end of the day. And you can be happy and fulfilled when you wake up and do what you want in your life.
It's self-actualization, which is very key in life because for me, I'm pretty much on the same exact boat. I'm a fixer. I like to fix other people's problems. So if I'm with somebody and they have a problem and I can fix it, I'll be like, well, let me help you do this thing. And then I'll do that. Or if I'm working with a couple of companies,
though. It's kind of like a feeling of empowerment.
I love doing it because I love seeing that result. I love helping people like learn how to make money, or you're having a problem. This is how you can strategically move about it. But that's not what people are really looking for. And it doesn't make yourself happy because at the end of the day, you're still spending your hours doing that.
Exactly.
And most people don't have the gratitude in their hearts for the value that you're giving them.
Exactly. I feel like people, I don't even know what to say to that. It's like, you're true. It's all right.
Yeah, it's a trip, right?
Shoot. Yeah. But I love how like we're like transitioning to so many different things that are so important in life. Like, it's not just about a business. It's not just about your nutrition and your health. And it's literally everything, to find fulfillment in yourself I think that's what life is all about, is just how can you feel fulfilled? If it's helping people and all these different things, you have to make yourself happy in order to live an outstanding life that you want. And to preserve that, you need to focus on your growth every single day.
How do you define what you do?
What I do?
When you meet somebody at a bar, if you're at a bar and a girl comes up to you and she asks you, what do you do?
Do you want me to be honest with you? I was out last night dancing. I dance a lot for 4 hours.
Salsa?
No, I was just dancing. I was like, literally, I go out. I don't go out for any girls. I don't go out to like take a woman home. I go out to dance. I go out to like let free of my energy and just have fun. And
nobody puts you in a corner.
Oh no. I'm just like, you put me in a corner, I will be on top of that corner, like dancing. You know what I mean? And so a girl came up to me and she was like, wow, you're just dancing all the time. I'm like, yeah, come on, dance. She's like, well, what do you do? Like, I don't get it. Cause I was doing a handstand in the club. And I just told her, I was like, I don't know how to answer that. I literally can't tell you, because I would like to say that I do everything. I like to just daggle with everything. But what I can say now is that I help people find fulfillment with their businesses, with their health, and their overall life. And you can call it whatever it is, philanthropist. I don't know. I just like to help people, man. That's what I like to do.
I love that, man. I used to define myself as a talent manager or business executive or corporate like strategist, and all of that stuff really doesn't define who you are as a person. So now when people ask me what I do, I'm like, I'm a life enthusiast. I do what makes me happy. And I try and bring value to other people.
I'm a life enthusiast.
Life enthusiast.
Well, you get paid with that? How do you make money? Well, you can make money every single way. You know what's crazy to me is that people still believe that you need to have an audience to make money. We actually talked about this earlier, but everyone thinks that you need to have like a following. You need to have an audience. Like, you have to be an established expert. You need to have these credentials. You need this and that to be. I think that's all limiting beliefs that are brought upon us by society.
A lot of the most powerful people in the world, none of us really know who their names are. That's real power. It's like a lot of people say that, you need to be the loudest person in the room. The loudest person in the room is usually the weakest person in the room. That's
true. I am pretty loud though. I will say that.
Well, you're confident, man. You got to be confident in what you're doing.
But that's so true. You don't even know who you're walking by. If you go to New York City, half the people there, you don't even know. Could be millionaires. They could be suffering from a disease. They could be suffering from this or that. Like, you don't know. All people want in life is to find fulfillment within themselves. They want to feel healthier. They want to look good. They want to, they have their own reasons to their own life, right?
If you could pass for homeless, you could be a billionaire in Los Angeles.
That's right. But what I teach a lot of my clients and a lot of the people that I coach is that, hey, listen, your number one step is to just find the solution for your customer. What's the solution? If Johnny is wanting to lose weight and you're saying, hey, I'm the best there is, I can change people's bodies, I've transformed so many people's lives, blah, blah, blah. They don't care about that. They don't care if you have 50 million followers.
What's in it for me?
Yeah.
As the end solution.
Well, can you get this fat off of my stomach? Okay, so that's how you need to create your pitch. And that's your movement. That's your train. That's your train to success and to your next stop, is literally cure the other person's, their pains, their frustrations. And I think that goes a lot more than just business. That's everything in life. That literally is everything in life. Like, when you're in a restaurant and someone's coming up to serve you, If you treat her like you want to know more about her or him and you like kind of just touch and learn more about them, they're going to treat you better, right? They're going to serve you. They might even throw in dessert. I love dessert. I hope they throw in a cheesecake, Yeah. It's like
Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. Take an honest initiative and interest in other people.
Exactly. And that's how I live my life now. I'm like this nomad in my mind now. I want to experience everything. I want to experience more hardship so I can see what's on the other side, because you don't realize it, but when you're going through something so insane and like myself, I truly do believe that it was crazy. Like there's things that I didn't even talk about. Like I walked out of or I was taking a photo for my friend, and the day after my stem cell surgery, my shoulder, I fell on it, right? And like, I can't even explain those things. You can't explain it when it's going on. But if you know that there's something greater on the other side, whether it's a mountain, whatever you want to call it, you can accomplish anything.
The worst moments are your fondest memories when you're looking back at them in hindsight.
Exactly.
I still remember like some of the happiest times I've had in Los Angeles was when I first started interning at ICM. I was broke. I had like a couple $100. And then when I permanently moved to LA, I had 3 months worth of rent paid down. I was splitting a room with a buddy. I got an air mattress that leaked air that I'd wake up in the middle of the night to fill up. And I had 2 credit cards with a $12,000 limit.
Just be thankful you didn't have a waterbed.
Yeah, no, dude, so thankful I didn't have a waterbed. But like, those are some of the happiest moments of my life. And it's also where I built this massive network that I've been able to bring value to. And they've also brought a ton of value to me. And that's the best part of life is, you just got to realize that in life, everything can get taken away at any given moment. And you just have to do little action steps to get you that inch forward.
Everything starts from scratch.
Yeah.
I tell this to everyone. Listen, I had 11 likes on my first Facebook post. I had 11 likes. I think 8 of them were my cousins, and my mom and my dad. And I don't even think my brother liked my post. Okay. And then I have a video of 47 million views. There's 750,000 shares. There's 800,000. Look, I'm not some massive creator, right? I just do what I'm passionate about, right? And because of that, I was able to develop it from absolute scratch. And anyone can do that. That's my message, is like, you can do it. If you can do it, an Indian guy in Boston, right? And a dude like myself with acne all over my face and like having like blinking, making noises and stuff when I was growing up. And like, if I can do it, and I was a skinny kid, and you were that person, and other guys and girls all around the world like are suffering way worse than us, way worse, and they can do it. You think that you can't get up in the morning at a certain time? You think you can't go to the gym at a certain time? You think you can't start this business that you've always wanted or dreamed of? Okay, go homeless. Then what? Okay, then you figure it out. Like if you lose money, you lose money. It is what it is. But if you're still living, you're still alive, and you still can pursue something new. You know what I mean? Risk, reward. It's like a lot of people say that, like risk.
Hold yourself accountable too.
Like, yeah, holding yourself accountable. That's a game changer. A lot of individuals, I see this, they don't even hold themselves accountable. Like they might make a mistake and they don't even embrace that mistake. They don't take it and learn from it. They just make the mistake and they just like flip the switch. They shut the door and then they keep on walking, right? But rather, you should turn on the air conditioning in that room, sit down, turn a light on, open up a journal and write about it. Like think about it. What was that mistake that you made? How was that hardship to you? Like, how can you translate that into helping you further in your life? And that's what I, man, there's a lot of things that I preach. I feel like I just have like a bunch of things. I'm like, that's what I say. That's the one thing that I say. I say all this stuff because I just believe in all.
It's part of your core values.
Yeah, I guess I need to find out more about my core values.
Yeah, you got to come up with a brand guide, write out your core values, your key views. And that's the biggest thing that a lot of people don't think about is you have to know exactly who you are, what you want to be. And you have to realize you can only be part of that. And if you don't hit it, it's okay. At least you tried. Not enough people try in life. Like, dude, I'm naturally not the most coordinated person in the world. I ride a motorcycle. I'm in boxing. Ooh. And I'm not great. Dude, I do a lot of like random stuff. Like I learned how to longboard. I just learned how to swim. It's just, you have to try. You have to be comfortable looking like a fool because like the first time you tried to do a handstand, you probably fell.
You
look silly, but like progressively you get incrementally.
You should have seen me dancing my first time. I used to dance. Look, I'm not even kidding. I'm really exploiting myself right now. Yeah. Okay. I used to dance in the shower. I was naked. I would just go walk out of the shower and I would just go in my room and I'd just start dancing. Just like dance.
So 6 months from now, I'm going to see you on America's Best Dance Crew, or so you think you can dance?
Most likely. No, you're going to see me in Hollywood at the top of a skyscraper. Well, we don't have any skyscrapers.
The next Katy Perry music video is the backpack kid.
Yeah, right. I do that movement all the time.
So if you had a spirit animal, which one would it be and why?
I don't even know what a spiritual animal really
like. What animal do you?
What it entails. Like the one thing that that represents me is a cheetah.
Okay, why?
Hands down. They're the fastest, they're the quickest, but they're also the most precise, and they use the most energy when they sprint because they go up to 60 miles per hour. They're the fastest animal alive, right? And so they need to preserve their energy, and they need to be smart. They need to be tactical. They need to have these strategies. And so I'm actually waiting for like this pendant on my necklace of a cheetah because I represent it so much. It's my favorite. It's my favorite animal, and that's what I would represent, hands down.
We think a lot of like I have the word gratitude embedded onto my intent necklace because that's the thing I wake up for is I get to record out of this beautiful studio.
Right.
I get to do what I've always wanted to do since I was a little kid. And if you're grateful for it, like your mind is based on survival. So everyone has problems. You wake up in the morning and you got problems, regardless of who you are. You can be the richest person in the world. And you have to realize that those problems don't define you. You got to be grateful for those little things. And that positive mindset in your brain is going to make you feel better. Eating right makes you feel better. Working out, even if you're not good at it, releases the right hormones in your body so that you're more focused. And those little things have to each be done so that you're successful across your life. You can't just put all the hours in the office and not have that balance. That's what I was going to
say. Like I see this time and time again. Just everyone wants to, they kind of want to dip and dabble with everything. Right?
Phone it in.
Yeah, right. They want to do everything. But then when it comes to focusing on one thing, once they focus on one thing, they don't realize that, hey, after you focus on that one thing, you also maintain other aspects of your life, like whether it's building the knowledge every single day and learning, right? You should learn every single day. You should challenge yourself every single day. You should exert energy every single day, working out, exercise. And, and you need to really establish yourself as someone that is consistently working, where then you don't even feel like you're working anymore. It's just life. This is what you're doing. You're just a person that is just always growing. And that is special. And that's something that nobody can take away from you once you're just progressing so much.
You just bring value every single day. Like one thing I try and do every single day is do something nice for someone. It could be somebody I know. It could be a random person. It could literally be as small as like complimenting someone on their dog.
It's so big.
And just walking away. And so many people get shocked. Like I bought a homeless guy food once and he was so shocked because like I sat with him in that restaurant at the point. I didn't have a job. I was broke.
Yeah.
But his situation was worse than mine. As much as it's going to be another $20 on my credit card, whatever. The interest is okay. I made that person's life marginally better and eventually someone's going to pay it forward.
Yep.
In
one
another
word
weird
could change
way.
Someone's life.
Yeah.
One word. It's getting on a phone call, meeting somebody in person. I have people that come up to me in every state, right? Every part of the world. I was in Kazakhstan and somebody came up to me. It's like, oh, Brendan. And it's just like, it's an incredible, empowering feeling. But that photo with them, that's not enough to me. I want to sit there and talk to them. I want to get to know them. I want to give you information that I know will change your life. Because guess what? You give one word, you give one piece of learning experience, something to someone else, you take the time, you have no clue at how much you're actually impacting or how many people you're impacting. That could be thousands. That could be millions. Because one person after, it could literally be the whole world. You don't know.
And it's a really cool concept. And the thing that I found when I was doing that was it was amazing to do that. But then eventually I'd find myself emotionally and like fully drained a lot of times. And I recently had a conversation earlier this week, and this was a mind-blowing idea. It tripped me out. It took me like 3 days to like fully accept it. Somebody's like, why are you helping all these random people? She's like, these people don't give a fuck about you. They don't care who you are. They just want to take what they can take from you. You need to invest in the right people. And that was something I started mindfully like being aware of for like the past couple of days.
And what do you think about it?
I love that concept because if you invest in the right people, you spend more time. Instead of helping 100 people, you help 10 people. and those 10 people are aware, they're accepting it, and they want that help, and they actually enact that, those 10 people can do more than the 100 people, because out of the 100 people, maybe only 10 of them actually end up doing something.
Yeah.
I have much more time to invest in other things, and I'm much more happy because I see those results and I see those people carrying on that kind of legacy. Like the biggest thing is the more you empower other people under you, the better off they're going to do. Yeah, and the better off they do, the more opportunity.
That's some powerful
credit
stuff.
Comes back to you.
That's powerful stuff. You know, one thing about the CFA, the business that I started, Creative Fitness Academy, is that, you know, I wanted to make sure I've been helping people for so long, right? Kids, 18-year-olds. Like I was just on a phone today with someone that purchased the CFA, not even because he wanted to learn anything. He purchased it because I helped him. You know what I mean? And it's pretty mind-blowing. But the point of that is, you know, when you have people that are investing in something, right, that's bigger, maybe it's the time that you're investing into them, whatever it is, and those 10 people, like you said, it can spread like wildfire. And it's something that I dealt with that was really hard for so long. You know, I never really wanted to build a business like this. I wanted to, but I didn't really know how to go about it because I just wanted to be able to offer something for everyone. I was like, I need to give this person something for free and this person, but at the end of the day, you're exhausted. Like you were saying, you're depleted. You're depleted. Like I can't even explain at how exhausted I would be at the end of every single night. But the only thing that would get me going is that, hey, I want to be able to build something later on. Like I know what I'm pushing towards, but you really you block yourself off to so much more. And it's interesting because you say that you're blocking yourself off to so much more, but you're actually giving so much more. And so when you do less, it actually does more. And it's very interesting in that regard. You do less with the quantity and you provide more quality. And that's where really you're tapping into when you're talking about giving those 10 people something that's extremely special to take.
Yeah, like I can't give people attention or I can't give love freely if my glass isn't overflowing. If my glass is about to be dead empty, everything starts at like, you know, self-care, self-love, self-preservation. And you have to make sure that that is actualized before you can really start doing a lot of it. But you can do it in small amounts. You just have to be aware of, you know, what resources you have.
One step at a time. Man, it was
a key thing. Like I remember I was hiking up Runyon, and again, not the most coordinated dude in the world. So I'm like
tripping over rocks.
Bro, I'm literally like
sprinting up
on all fours, like crawling up this thing. And there's my buddy who's doing even worse than me. There's this one guy walking behind him with these headphones on. It's kind of like a movie scene. He just said one step at a time. One leg in front of the other. And I was watching this happen to my boy.
Rocky or something?
Yeah, it's kind of like that, dude. It was literally like a Rocky-esque moment with like Apollo Creed behind my buddy, literally like cheering him on every step of the way. And he made it to the top and he felt great. But the next time he went and did it, he was a little bit better. Yeah. And each time you do one of these things, you get slightly better.
You know, one thing that I've been doing recently actually is at the end of, let's say, a workout set or anything in life, actually. And I've been talking about this with a lot of people recently. When you challenge yourself, you know, you're talking about challenge, right?
Yeah.
When you challenge yourself at the end of you being exhausted, at the end of you already feeling like you've been defeated, that's where you can grow like crazy. And that's where you can establish yourself as something, a different being. Yeah, it's like a burnout, right? But I challenge my mind in a way. So it's a mind burnout in a way. And so like, for instance, when I work out, right, I'll do a really hard superset. I'll do like a bench press or something like that. And then I'll go into like a row and then I'll do something else. And I'm exhausted. I'm absolutely exhausted from those 3 exercises. But I'll tell myself, all right, Brendan, now let's try and do a handstand. Hold a handstand. And the cool thing about a handstand is that you have to have a lot of coordination. You have to pay close attention. You have to do the small things, the functional things in order to stabilize and be in that complete straight line upside down. And so I started doing that and I've become so much better at handstands, even though I've just recently started implementing this stuff again in my life. And so I started doing that with everything though, like literally everything, friendships, whatever it is. Like I would just challenge myself. If I've been on calls, like today, I've been on calls literally from 11 o'clock all the way up until 3, just like 8 to 10 calls, and I was exhausted, right? But I wanted to challenge myself. I was like, all right, can I get on this this podcast? Can I speak with you? Can we like create an awesome conversation? We did it, right?
Yeah.
I'm exhausted, but because I did this, I feel like I can accomplish so much more. Next time I do this, I'll know that, hey, I can probably do another podcast after this, or I can go dance after this for 4 hours. Maybe I don't want to dance for 4 hours, but you know what I mean? It's just, constant challenges.
Yeah. I mean, dude, that's the way I live my life. Like I had a friend that came on other Friday. She ran into me at an event and she's like, what time did you wake up? I'm like, I was up at 6. She's like, how late were you out? And I'm like, I was out till 3. And it's just because I'm enthused by what I'm doing.
Yeah, but that 3 hours is crazy, man. I don't know how you do it.
I'm trying to get it down to 5 as a regular thing.
I've been doing something different as well. I've been doing so many things different, but that's where life takes you. You just start changing it up. It's like,
I'm trying to focus on health for myself right now.
Yeah. If you believe, if it can work for you, because I know there are studies out there that some people can literally just sleep 5 hours and they're extremely healthy guys and girls. It's just the truth of the matter. It's researched, right? 5-6 hours. It's somehow optimal for other people. For me, I feel like something that I've been doing is I just wake up. Whenever I feel like I need to wake up, I wake up. And I have been feeling incredible. I've been empowered. Obviously, my nutrition's on point. I gained 40 pounds in the past 4 months. I don't know if I even said that, or 5 months.
No,
I gained 40 pounds in 5 months. I have images of myself that are just crazy. It's like people used to look at me and they're like, Brendan, what happened? Dude, what is going on with you? And now I'm like, I gained 40 pounds. Like, you're on steroids. And I'm like, no, I was sick. I was injured,
Yeah.
And so just the evolution, it's pretty cool. I just want to throw it in there. It's very interesting how all these things work.
One of the things you brought up was nutrition. What do you recommend for people to learn about how to eat right? Because a lot of people just jump on whatever fad.
Yeah, I'll tell you straight up. I'm a very transparent person. I'm not a big believer in all these fad diets. Keto works, right? If you get to
ketosis.
Ketosis.
Which is hard.
The majority of people do not do it, and they get keto flu and they feel sick, and I believe can kill you. If you don't do it right and you're in that keto flu for a long, long period of time, if you're just right around it, you can develop different types of things. And so, keto, you have intermittent fasting, you have this and that, low carb, high carb, do this, the IIFYM, if it fits your macros. I tell people, hey, if it looks like it's healthy for you and you think it's healthy for you and your gut's saying it's healthy for you, eat it.
Keep it simple.
If you feel like it's not healthy for you, don't eat it. And what I do is, I have my carbs. I have my proteins. I have my fats. I just eat, and I have a lot of micronutrients. I have my MCT oil. I have some bone broth sometimes. I have my carrot juice. I have green juices every single day. I have a smoothie that I make for myself. I just put in nutritionally dense foods into my body. And that's simple. That's it. Food, just like fruits, vegetables. If you believe that vegetables are not good for you, then you're probably, you need to think, go to McDonald's or something like that, because you need to know what's not good for you, right? And so
unless you're Chad Ochocinco, who ate McDonald's
that's
every
true.
day.
He's the man. he's the man, the quickest feet in the world. But you
got to know your body. You got to trust your gut instincts, like you said earlier.
For me, I'm like vegetables. Just if it's zucchini, great. I love zucchini. If it's carrots, great. Eat more carrots. If it's spinach, kale, there's so many different foods out there that you can consume that are actually delicious. Instead of I'm gluten-free. I try not to eat any gluten. I had it last night. I did have something at McDonald's. I will say that, but for the most part, I'm gluten-free, and the reason why is because I feel good off of it. I feel way better not eating any bread. You think bread's having a bunch of bread, 2 loaves of bread at an Olive Garden or local restaurant is good for you?
Straight up sugar, basically.
Yeah, basically that's what you're putting in your body. So I'm just an avid believer in, if you feel like you're eating healthy, you're probably eating healthy.
So before we wrap up, I want you to share a couple of projects that you're currently working on and your social media handles so that people can be sure to follow your journey.
Yeah, no. So I'm going full force with the Creative Fitness Academy and just teaching people how to build their own online businesses from scratch. And we've had some awesome testimonials. Within the first 30 days, a guy is a father and he made $8,000 in less than 30 days. He paid a very low price for the course and made all of his money back, literally his first client. And, other kids in college. And so I'm working on that a lot now. But I have other opportunities I can't talk about right now, but I'm working with different businesses for partnerships and forming those. But the majority of it, I'm just trying to inspire people, and I'm trying to get out there and talk to them in a different way and evolve. And you can find me on Instagram, Facebook. You just type my name in, Brendan Meyers. Instagram is the B Meyers, but it's just Brendan Meyers. You can find me pretty much everywhere. I'm trying to be as humble as possible as saying that you can find me everywhere, even on Pinterest.
It's not a negative thing. A lot of people view it as like, Google me. It's like, that's the way you can learn a lot of shit about people.
Yeah. I used to say Google me, and it was just like egotistical.
It sounds cocky.
Yeah. It's like, hey, just Google, like come on. Like,
it's the easiest way. But if you Google someone, you'll find their YouTube, their Facebook,
me.
Just because it ranks higher.
Yeah, it does. That's just how it goes. But yeah, I have ab workouts. I'm trying to get back into the training completely and provide that part of life for individuals around me and consumers and stuff. I want to teach you how to get in shape, but I also want to teach you how to build a business. And so, yeah, man, I really do appreciate you having me on here, and it was great seeing you again. I haven't seen you in a long time. I think
it's been
like
about like 2 years.
2 years.
2 years ago when I was doing one of my first speeches in LA.
Life goes by.
Life goes by quick, man.
Oh man,
it's a trip.
It was a good speech. I will say that. I was enticed with like who you were. I was like, who is this guy? He has this gratitude necklace. I don't even know if you had the gratitude necklace.
I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I talk about it every time.
Oh man. But you were like, everyone was talking to you, and I was like, who is this guy?
I was swarmed with people, and I just literally couldn't even I was there for 3 hours after that conference, which is such a trip. But like, dude, that's how I was able to give a lot of people a lot of value, because there aren't such things as secrets in life. Somebody's always done something before you ever did it.
Exactly.
And really the differentiator isn't how to do it. It's that intrinsic factor of you and how you specifically enact that and make it come to life.
Right.
So I really appreciate you taking the time
thank you so much.
The call to come in here. You guys should definitely be sure to follow him on YouTube. I'm definitely going to follow him to get some ab workouts, since I'm down 10 pounds after working out.
Let's go.
And, get some good diet tips. And thank you guys for tuning in to the New Hollywood Podcast. We're going to be on iTunes, Facebook, YouTube, pretty much anywhere you can download a podcast. You can be sure to follow us on Instagram at New Hollywood. You can follow myself at Ashwin Jacob. I'm pretty much on all social media. I love to connect with people that listen, and I look forward to bringing in some other interesting people that you can learn some great tips from. Thank you guys for tuning in.